Assad's forces shell the area where Wednesday's chemical attack took place. Some interpret this as an attempt to destroy the evidence, while UN inspectors remain holed up in a hotel. The top UN negotiator, Angela Kane, arrived in Damascus to argue they should be allowed to get on with their job, but it won't be easy to persuade the Syrian government to allow them to gather evidence on whether the regime gassed its own people. As she arrived, state TV was telling Syria that government soldiers apparently found chemicals belonging to the rebels in tunnels under Damascus. But, speaking in Turkey, a rebel spokesman said inspectors should be allowed to conduct their own investigation.
This group of United Nations inspectors are in Syria, in Damascus right now. We want them to go to the scene of the attack. We have solid evidence in our hands showing that the regime has used chemical weapons.
It's thought this could be the blast in question, the second explosion in the air, a signature of a possible toxic attack. Elliot Higgins, a Leicester-based blogger, has been monitoring weapons used from internet footage coming from Syria.
If this was a chemical attack and they used rockets or mortars or other munitions, you would expect for the remains of these munitions to still be there, because whilst the high explosive munition will explode into thousands of tiny pieces, chemical munition will usually leave behind quite a significant amount of the actual munition.
While President Obama stressed he wants to avoid getting sucked into another Middle East conflict, this warship, the USS Mayhem, equipped with cruise missiles, was changing its home course back to the East Mediterranean. It was a strategic move, according to US Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, who said the Defense Department has a responsibility to provide the President with options for contingencies, and that requires positioning our forces, positioning our assets to be able to carry out different options, whatever options the President might choose. The US 6th Fleet normally has 3 cruise missile-capable destroyers based in the Med, but with the USS Mayhem retained, they now have 4. It's not been suggested yet, but if air power was needed to enforce a no-fly zone, it would come from the US air bases in Europe, potentially Aviano in Italy, and Spangdahlem and Ramstein in Germany. One Middle East expert says the US can't be seen to do nothing.
The United States has to calculate how many empty threats can it make, and the imperative to demonstrate that they mean business when they say that red lines have been crossed is going to overcome the nervousness about getting drawn into the war per se. They don't need to get drawn into the war in order to demonstrate their anger.
The West has to be sure, but even then a course of action needs to be agreed. The fear is that if there are no consequences for Assad crossing the red line, he'll take it as a green light to carry on. Jason Farrell, Sky News.